and you can quote this on me. There is no way the Orioles or Red Sox make the playoffs this season. Yeah, yeah. There's no way. There's no way.
I set the bar really low at the NBA predictions.
I don't think all Mavs fans look into the stats like I do.
It's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I don't know if Nick Nurse is the coach for the Raptors. I don't know if he's the reason why they won the 2019 championship. I feel like that was more of a team effort.
The Mavs cannot say we do not miss Seth Curry shooting threes.
This questions the firing of Dwayne Casey, who I think is a very underrated coach.
To me, the Capitals really pushed all their chips for this season.
Hello, I'm Mike Grimes, and you've been listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. We are continuing our top 10, and now we move over to shooting guards. And I'm joined by the man, Austin.
Yeah, we are returning to this list, and it's something that is extremely tough for me at times. I really this one was tough. This one was very, very, very tough. You have to balance offense and defense and everything else with the team, and that's why I think really makes it hard for me to make this list. I do have. What were you saying?
Yeah, and this is tough. This is one where I really had to go off Basketball Reference of this guy is classified as a shooting guard, even though in my mind I'm like, he's a point guard.
Yeah, it's definitely a bridge position, as I would call it. And that really means that they are kind of playing in two different spots in a lot of times, but this is where I would have them listed for next season, and we'll obviously see if we have some difference in players based on just that alone, because we had no problems really with point guards, because that's not really the case usually with point guards. They're not usually ones that switch like that, but shooting guards, it's a whole different question. They could be a point guard, they could be a small forward, or they could be a shooting guard like they're that listed in our minds.
Yeah, so I think let's get right into it. I'll let you say your 10 first.
Yeah, so this one, again, it is so tight. And this, I will say, is a prediction video. It's predicting where they're going to be next year. So my number 10 is Devin Vassell for the Spurs. I think the Spurs make a big jump this season. And Vassell, along with obviously Wembanyama and Keldon Johnson and a lot of other guys, are a big part of that. Vassell, when fully healthy, is an elite scorer and can definitely impact this. And I do consider him, obviously, a shooting guard. And so he's my number 10. Who's your 10?
So my 10 is a guy that is not confirmed traded, but it is Dante DiVincenzo. I think he is a really solid shooting guard. He's a guy that was, I believe, in top 3 in three-point shooting percentage. And he plays some solid defense, but to me, it's really shooting. And he may be coming off the bench. I do think he'd be a great starter with the Timberwolves if that officially goes through. But to me, he deserved to make it on this list as 10.
Okay. Who's your 9?
My 9 is DeJounte Murray. This is a guy where a couple of guys, I'm like, I view these guys as point guards, but DeJounte Murray being paired with Trae Young, he's listed as a shooting guard.
Well, DeJounte Murray isn't playing on the Hawks anymore, right? You know that?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
he's on New Orleans now.
Yeah,
so I think he will be a point guard because they have CJ at the 2. So I do not have DeJounte on my list.
I completely forgot about that trade.
Yeah, so he's now – so like the lineup would probably be DeJounte and then CJ and then Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, and Zion. And if you want to put a center in there, it'd be kind of – you just take out Herb Jones, I guess. But, yeah, Ingram, Zion, CJ, and DeJounte will probably be starters if Herb Jones can't make it into that lineup. But I highly doubt he plays shooting guard this season. I could be wrong. They could play CJ.
Yeah, no, you're
CJ
you're
is
right. You're right on
CJ
that.
just is a one. So
Yeah.
I mean, is not a one. CJ is not. So I just would find that hard to believe. So
So I'm quickly gonna change. Thank you for that. I completely forgot about the DeJounte Murray and the Pelicans. So my 9 is now Dante DiVincenzo, and another guy that is coming back from injury is Malik Monk. He's my 10.
okay, Monk did not make my list. That's a solid one. I like that. My number 9 is Derek White. Derek White was one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, if not the best perimeter defender in the league, and that matters. I know there's some people I know that are pretty big haters of him, don't really like it, but his impact for the team is immense. He averaged 15 points last year, was second team all defense, 8th in defensive player of the year voting, which for a guard is extremely impressive. He averaged over a steal, Kevin, and over a block. The amount of guards that can do that are not high. He also did that while shooting 39.6% from the field, or no, 39.6% from 3 and 90% from the free throw line. He's basically a 46, 40, 90 shooter. And while, yes, he's not the best player on his team, he is one of the most important. And his impact on the reason why Boston won a title last year. And I definitely think he's a top 10 shooting guard for this upcoming season. I think he will continue his defensive dominance.
I'm in complete agreement with you. He's not my 9, he's my 8, Derek White. I have him over guys like Dante DiVincenzo. He's a guy I view as a point guard, but when I looked at Basketball Reference, he's listed as shooting guard ever since he's been on the Celtics. His defense is incredible, and to me, it goes to show the depth on that Celtics team, because you have a guy like Derek White who he could be the starter basically everywhere else if he were to go move and be shooting guard, and he's just coming off the bench and can also start. You already listed his defense. He is a guy known for defense, and he can also score as well.
Yeah, I'll let you do your 8.
So my 8 is Derek White.
Oh, your 8's Derek White. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay. So the next one, tough for me. These are so close. I don't know if you struggled as much as I did with these bottom. My top 6, easy. Wrote them down probably 2 seconds after sitting down to write the list. But 7 through 10 are just so difficult for me to decide between, especially because I don't know what positions guys that just got traded to are going to play. So at this very moment, I have DeMar DeRozan as my 8. Where people will be like, well, he played shooting guard last year. Well, he's not on the same team. And he's listed right now on Basketball Reference as a shooting guard for the Kings. And I think the starting lineup is going to be Fox, DeRozan, Keegan Murray. And then a power forward, probably either... that's actually really tough. Or they may move Keegan to power forward, because I think Keegan's probably a better power forward. And then you play a guy like Keon Ellis at small forward. But I don't think they start Monk. That's my big thing. I just don't think they start him. He is a shooting guard. I'm not going to disagree with that. But I don't think he starts. And because he doesn't start, that would put DeRozan as the most likely shooting guard. I just don't see... Like, I love Keon Ellis, but I think they just moved Keon Ellis to small forward. I think they just played DeRozan at the 2.
Okay, yeah. DeMar DeRozan did not make my list. He's a guy where I view him as small forwardish, but you make a great point in why he'd be listed as a shooting guard.
Yeah, at this very second, he's listed as a shooting guard on Basketball Reference for the Kings, even though last year he did play small forward.
Yeah. And I view him as really taking over that Harrison Barnes spot, which was small forward, but you never know, especially with just how fluid positions are.
Yeah, and the way he plays is much more shooting guard-esque than small forward to me, at least in my mind. I don't know. I usually think of the small forward as the better defensive player, and so they would play Keon at small forward, but we'll see. We don't actually know at this exact moment what that's going to be like.
Yeah, so that is your 8. I'll let you say your 7.
So my 7 is Austin Reeves for the Lakers. Reeves is a guy that I think could make a big jump this year, and if he does, the Lakers aren't going to be that bad. Reeves is also someone that I'm not shocked if he averages close to 20 points per game. I think LeBron is going to become more of a passer the later he gets in his career. And because of that, it's going to allow other guys to score more points, including Reeves.
Yeah, Austin Reeves is a guy that's not on my list, but I totally understand. He kind of fell out. I think he was on my top 10 last year when we did this, and he didn't really meet up to my expectations. Neither did the Lakers, but definitely worthy of top 10. My 7 is sort of a caveat, and this is why he's at 7. Is to me, he's really a point guard, but he's listed as shooting guard, and that's Kyrie Irving, and that's why he's lower because he's an incredible player. I don't know what has happened, but the off the court issues really haven't happened in Dallas. Where I was like, because the player is amazing, it's the personality, but that has changed. So that's why he's my 7. He's really, I would argue, a point guard, but he's listed as a shooting guard, and he is an incredible player offensively. But he did struggle in the playoffs with scoring.
Yeah, he'll definitely be a shooting guard this year. It's not even a question. So it's not even that he's listed. He plays shooting guard.
Yeah, and it's just because of Luka, and to me, I almost feel like they're 2 point guards, and then just one gets listed as shooting guard. But
not really though, because Kyrie's more than he's not pass first in my mind. He's more score first, and that's a shooting guard. He's a shooting guard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Shooting guard is more scoring, and
it's not more scoring. It's more shoot first. That's that's how I look at it.
Yeah,
you can score a lot more points as a point guard. That's fine, but it's what are you trying to look at? And I feel like Kyrie is more of a I'm going to look at getting my own before I look at someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make a good point with that idea. I agree on it. And there are sometimes when Luka's off the floor, I think Kyrie kind of goes into pass mode, but when he is on the floor starting with Luka, he is either taking a catch and shoot shot or finding his own dribble and getting to the rim.
Yeah. Who is your 7?
So my 7 is Kyrie.
Okay, who's your 6?
My 6 is Bradley Beal. We talked about predictions, and it's bound to happen, right? Like he's bound to get healthy again.
I mean, I am a Beal fan. I think you know that. So I would love to see it.
So to me, he got the edge over Kyrie because in my mind, I view Kyrie as a point guard, but we just went through that. To me, Bradley Beal is a shooting guard, and if healthy, he is a close to top 5 shooting guard. He's lower because of health, and I feel I'm taking a risk putting him at 6, but he's a guy. These top 6 guys, like you're mentioning, I can immediately think when I think of him, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a shooting guard. So Bradley Beal's my 6.
My 6 is also Beal. I do agree that it's a risk, but here's the thing: he shot over 50% from the field in 50+ games, the back-to-back years from the field. He shot 43% from 3 last year. When he's not taking crazy threes, he's one of the best shooters in the league, bar none. And with Booker being the obvious one, so he shouldn't be on your list. He was the one last year. He's definitely be the one this year, right? You don't have Booker on your list?
Booker on my shooting guard?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I do have Booker on my shooting guard.
Did I not? I thought I had Booker on my point guard. Did I not?
I don't remember if you did. I don't think you did have Booker on your point guard.
Oh, I may have made a mistake myself. I didn't have him on this list because I think of him as a point guard.
I view him as a shooting guard, even with Bradley Beal also being listed as a shooking guard.
But it just doesn't. They can't both be. Like I'm saying, I didn't include him on my list because I think of him as a point guard, but I don't remember having him on my point guard list. So I'm trying to. I may have it.
I don't think you had him listed as point guard.
I'm trying to find it.
Because we shared a very similar list on point
guard. Oh, that's right. I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. I probably would have had him at 5. So if you guys haven't watched the video, I had Luka at 1, Shea at 2, Jalen Brunson at 3, Steph at 4. I would have had Booker at 5, which would move Ja to 6, Halliburton to 7, Maxey to 8, Fox to 9, and Cade Cunningham to 10. I'll make that
Yeah.
change here. It's just I don't think Booker doesn't, especially if you watch. I don't know if you had the chance of watching many Suns games last year. Booker was playing like a point guard. Booker was extremely pass first. He was trying to get everyone involved. He averaged a career high, basically 7 assists, 6.9, and he had a very, 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 very. He had a 15 assist game. He had a lot of very highly assisted games. He had career high in assists. I would definitely think he's a point guard. I that's my fault for not including him in my last list because I don't have him here. He's not on my 10.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think the game where I saw was the Mavs game, and I believe Beal was out, so Booker was playing shooting guard. It is something that he's had to change because
I don't think Booker played it shooting guard at all. Yeah, he didn't. I'm looking at it. He played 91% point guard. When Beal was out, Grayson Allen played shooting guard.
And that's on me because I just mentally slot Booker as shooting guard. I did not look at him in the basketball reference.
Yeah. He played 91% point guard. So even that game you watched, he played point guard because again they have no other point guards on their roster. This year they have added Monte Morris, but he won't start. They had one point guard on their roster, and it was Devin Booker last year. So that's why he played 91%.
Yeah,
there's no one else to slot there. I guess Saban Lee sometimes would play a couple minutes, but that's not really like a true point guard. So yeah, I'll take partial blame there. Like I said, he would be number 5 on my point guards list behind Curry. If you guys would like to hear where he would be ranked, just making a pinment to that. But I'll go into my number 5 on the shooting guards list. It's Desmond Bane. Bane has dealt with some injuries in his career, but I definitely think that he can come back and be 100%. Him and Ja, I had Ja listed as 5, but now he moves to 6. So they have Memphis has 2 top 6 in their positions, in my opinion. Bane 5 in shooting guard and Ja 6 at point guard. So they should have a really, really good team this year. I'm excited to see how they perform together, and it's been a minute since we've seen them play together, but now we'll get that opportunity.
Yeah, I'll get to Bane in just a second. My 5 is CJ McCollum. He is, I think age has slowed him down a little bit, but he is still one of the best shooting guards, and he's a guy that can really score and shoot first. And he does well in it. So that's why he's my 5. I'll go into my 4 is Desmond Bane. I feel like Desmond Bane's just about to hit that top of where like, oh my gosh, he's one of the best shooting guards because he is a great 3-point shooter. He's added a lot as well with the Grizzlies, and I'm really excited to see what he does with Ja, as you mentioned.
I just realized that because you have DeJounte Murray, or you made it a pinment too. Yeah. Would he be in your top 10 point guards?
Yeah. Oh man, I think he'd be a close cut because I feel Ja's my 10. I don't want to put DeJounte Murray above Ja. And I don't want to move Tyrese Halliburton lower. So, yeah, I think DeJounte Murray would be a close cut. He'd be at that 11.
Yeah, he didn't make my list straight up. It was Booker that I definitely made a mistake with. But, yeah, because you have Beal and Booker on your list, guaranteed. Yeah. And then you had DeJounte, and then you had McCollum, and they were technically both shooting guards on the same team. Obviously, you made that change. Yeah. But my number 4 is Jalen Williams for OKC. Jalen Williams is going to have a great year. He's an amazing player, exciting young player. He's one of my friend's favorite players, and I can see the hype. I can see it. He is growing into an immensely good player on both sides of the ball, and his impact on the game can be felt even with Shea as their point guard. So he's my 4.
So my question is this Jalen Williams from Arkansas or J-Dub?
This is Jalen Williams that went to Santa Clara. That's their shooting guard.
Got it. Because I wanted to have him on this list, and when I looked, it listed power forward. And it was J-Dub.
Yes, it's J-Dub. They did list him as a power forward last year. I don't think that's what he plays this season. They've added... Who did they add? They added Isaiah Hartenstein.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I think what's going to happen is that they're going to have Hartenstein as the center and then play Chet at the
Ooh.
4. Then they play Dort at the 3 and Jay Will at the 2. The reason why Dort played the 3 last year, but the reason why they kind of messed it up is because they had Giddey starting. So Giddey was the 2.
Yeah.
Now they don't have Giddey, but they want to keep Dort. Like I said, the better defender in my mind usually plays small forward. They're going to keep Dort at small forward. Jay Will's already played shooting guard before, so I think the starting lineup is going to be Hartenstein at the center, Chet at power forward, because Hartenstein's been a great defender. He can rebound a little bit better than Chet. You play Chet, the shooter, who can also play great defense at the 4, and then you would play Dort at the 3, 2 Jalen Williams, and Shea at the 1.
Yeah, I understand that. I feel J Dub. He has more respect from me defensively because there is some bitterness with Lou Dort. To me, Lou Dort is more physical, but Jalen Williams did a great job guarding Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
against
he
the
did.
Cavs.
It's really the question: do we think that Caruso is going to start day 1? He started 57 games last year of his 71. The year before that, he started less than half. That's really going to be the question whether J Will or J Dub plays shooting guard or not. I don't think Caruso will start. I don't think you can start Caruso and Dort together. I feel like that's kind of counterproductive because they're both like they can shoot. Like Caruso shoots 40% from 3 last year, but the year before that he shot 36.4. It's not a guarantee that he's going to shoot that great. He can. He definitely can. He's also a little bit more on the injury prone side. And I just don't know if starting Caruso and Dort at the same time and then benching Hartenstein. I feel like it's more important to have that rebounding presence that you lost. You didn't have it with Chet. Chet wasn't the greatest rebounder. You need the rebounding presence. So again, I think Hartenstein starts with Chet. And then they don't move Dort. And they play J-Will where he started, or J-Dub where he started his first season. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I definitely agree. Hartenstein starts, so
Yeah.
he's your 4, and yeah, he is an amazing defender. J Dub, who you're 4. I'll just go into my 3. It's Devin Booker. We of course have the dilemma of Bradley Beal and Devin Booker being on the same team, and Devin Booker really forcing to play point guard. I will argue the Suns is just a weird situation in that in a traditional environment, I believe Devin Booker would be a shooting guard, and he's just a guy that he came up shooting guard, and that's what I still view him as. So that's my mistake here as well, because I didn't think of Basketball Reference because I'm like he's always going to be a shooting guard, but you brought up how he played 91% at point guard.
Yeah, he was basically their only point guard. I will say the year before he played like 50% small forward and 47% shooting guard, so he's kind of like always been that middle ground between those two. Within this past year, he was only a point guard. We both make the mistake. We'll both take the necessary flack for it because we have a guy like my 3, Kyrie Irving, who you would think is a point guard, but plays. What has he played like on the Mavs? He plays like a shooting guard. That's what he plays like. So he's a shooting guard, and amazing one at that. I have him a lot higher than you, but he is my 3.
Yeah, I totally understand. And this shooting guard, I think just by with us going, I'm forgetting about DeJounte Murray, which is completely on me with the Pelicans. It is such a fluid position as well. This might be the one where I think we struggle the most with. Small forward, it's pretty similar to me who a small forward is. Shooting guard, it's really tough, and it's that mentality. And to me, it's a rare position to have a true shooting guard that is very good.
I would agree. I think it's that's not the right way to put it. It's not the worst position. It's just the most. I just feel like if you're really good at a shooting guard, you're moved to point guard. Like I just feel like that's what happens. That's kind of, again, that's what's happened with Booker, right? Is he's the best shooting guard of the team, so they move him to point guard.
Yeah, and when you have a really great point guard with Kyrie, like Luka's your point guard,
it's who's the second best, and you move him to shooting guard. So it's. I don't want to say worst position. That's not the right way to put it. But it feels like there's less, like you said, less true shooting guards in the league than any other position. That's what I will say. There's less true shooting guards in the league than any other position group.
And it's hard to know you can have true shooting guards, and then you have that limited number, and then actually good shooting guards. Because I view Tim Hardaway Jr. as a shooting guard. Is he the best? Probably not, but he has the mentality of a shooting guard, scoring first. So yeah, I totally understand having Kyrie. But yeah, it's just he's really shooting guard because of Luka. Because when they're usually it's Luka and him, either on the floor, if not together. I'm curious to see what happens this year because now they have Spencer Dinwiddie and other guys. But when Luka would go off, Kyrie would go to that point guard role. And to me, that fits him better, but he is also a great scorer. So it's just really tough. So yeah, I totally understand having him at your 3. That makes me very interested in our 1 and 2. Who is your 2?
My 2 is Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is the second best shooting guard in the league. He is amazing. I just think he falls barely below number 1.
Okay. We almost had the same number 1. My number 2 is Anthony Edwards. This is so tough, man, because Anthony Edwards really came on during this year. He had an incredible run to the playoffs, and I love his personality. He's really fit in this team and just in this role in the NBA. I just wanted to put Donovan Mitchell number 1. I saw that he's first in efficiency. And to me, Donovan Mitchell is a good defender. And then you had Anthony Edwards just getting tired. We saw he's like, hey, I'm going to guard Kyrie. And he got really tired guarding Kyrie. And then he couldn't really do what he does on offense. But it was a really tough decision for me.
Yeah, it's really close. Obviously, if I have Donovan Mitchell at 2, you know my 1, it's Ant. I think Ant is the better player. I will say again that if you kept DeJounte Murray, you would have had over half your list on one team. It does seem like Dante DiVincenzo did get traded to the Timberwolves, in which case you do have DiVincenzo and Ant. And I don't know necessarily how that would work. I do think they still have Mike Conley, right?
Yeah,
I think Conley would be point guard. I think DiVincenzo would probably move to small forward.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We don't even know what the trade's actually going to look like.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that to be official. So if you're wondering where's the cat trade video, we're waiting till it's actually official. There's just rumor, and it's most likely going to happen, but it's not officially in the books. So things could change.
Yeah. We'll obviously do a video, like you said, when it does officially happen, and that will kind of determine what these teams will look like.
Yeah, and Ant to me is a guy where kind of like Booker, he to me is going to get moved to point guard when Mike Conley leaves, similar to how Devin Booker moved, because I view Dante DiVincenzo as the next shooting guard for the Timberwolves. So that concludes our list. Really tough list. I apologize for the mistakes for me with DeJounte Murray and then Devin Booker. I think that just goes to show how difficult this list is, and I'll let Austin close this one out.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Again, like Kevin said, I'll apologize for both of us as well. We'll be better. The next 3 we won't mess up, I promise. But if you guys haven't watched the point guard video, you've heard my rankings, but maybe you can hear my reasonings, and you can also hear Kevin's entire list. And thank you guys for listening, and please catch you in our next video.